Not only did he get thrown through the windshield like that, get killed from it, but then that the dad just ran off, and they found him later. I mean, he's in jail now, but you know, I remember just staring down and looking at him, and I can't even really describe it.
Hey guys, sorry to interrupt, but I noticed a huge portion of you are not subscribed. Guys, we are so close to 90,000 subscribers. So if you enjoy my content, then please hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications. It only takes 1 second and it really helps a lot. This video shout out is from Twitter. Thank you, Jimothy, for being awesome. Now let's get back to the video.
I would say I've been doing this for roughly 8 years, going on 9 now. A lot of people understand that being a paramedic and an EMT is an extremely stressful job. I remember back in 2016, and we got called out to an accident, and we get those like every day. You know, in 90% of the time, they're just little fender benders, and everybody's mostly okay. And on the way there, the dispatcher tells me there was a 7-year-old there, and that the driver had wrecked the car and then left. And I get out of the car and I'm walking up towards the firefighters, and they're doing CPR on the 7-year-old. I looked at the car and I saw like a hole in the windshield and like blood all over the tree. So, you know, I put 2 and 2 together that he was sitting in the front seat, went through the windshield, and at a very high rate of speed hit the tree with his head. And then when I looked at him again, they're compressing on his chest. You know, his you could see like in his neck, it was like jello, like there was nothing there. It was just, and then the top of his head was concaved in, and I had to tell them to stop, because you know there's nothing we could do for him. Not only did he get thrown through the windshield like that, get killed from it, but then that the dad just ran off, and they found him later. I mean, he's in jail now, but you know, I remember just staring down and looking at him, and you know, just I can't even really describe it. Sometimes I get like kind of like flashbacks of looking at his face, and for a while I beat myself up over it, you know, because I'm like, well, is there anything I could have done? You know, could I have done anything different to help him? And I know I couldn't have. There's nothing I could have done. And then the fact that he was just 7 years old too, just really really affected me. And then the next year, you know, I remember making a double homicide suicide where this poor guy was dragged out of his car, and the dude pulled him over to the side of his house, and I mean, I just shot him in the back of the head like an execution style, and then killed his girlfriend in the car, and then went back to his house and shot himself. I could still see on the guy's face like the last moments he was alive before he got shot, and like it's like pure terror on his face. You know, it sticks with you. It's part of the job. You know, that's what I tell myself. It's part of the job, right? I used to be where I couldn't even talk about it. It's been several years now, and I feel a lot better about it. Like I said, with the therapy and stuff, my therapist talking about it, and she really taught me to be more open about things and talk about things and get things off my chest. That it's not good to keep those things bottled up inside, because it really eats at you.
Is there a time you did end up saving someone's life?
Oh, several times. The one I can remember is an older gentleman. He went into cardiac arrest, and the good thing about it is his daughter started doing CPR immediately. We get there and I put him on the monitor. What we do in that situation is you get their airway and you breathe for them. You know, like you put the tube down their mouth and, you know, put it in their trachea, and you breathe for them with the bag, and got his pulse back. His daughter, who came out and did the CPR, came out and gave me a hug. She was like, "Oh, do you care if I hug you?" And I'm like, "No, not at all." Just give me a big old bear hug. And she's like, "Thank you so much." It's moments like that, man, that, you know, that's why I do what I do. I love it. And then I had a guy, he was choking on a $50 piece of watermelon. We got there like as he died. Like we walked in the door and he went like smack on the floor. And I instantly knew, because like he had his hands around his neck, you know, the classic choking sign, and his whole when somebody chokes and they pass out, their whole like neck up turns blue. And what I did is I got a couple tools out, and I got one of the main tools for something like that's called Miguel forceps, and I went in there and pulled that chucker, the big piece of watermelon out of his throat, got him right back and up and good, a few hours later. So it's crazy when you see somebody like unconscious or dead, and then you help them. You're like, it's it's really crazy. You never get used to that. It reminds you why you do what you do. I've had people I've woken up for overdoses, and they're like, "Oh my God, thank you so much for helping me. I'm gonna start getting my life on track and getting better." Growing up, both my parents were very bad alcoholics, and I really wasn't raised up very well. And for me, when I was in high school, I always wanted to do something to help people, and I just fell into EMS. And when I was young, one of the first college classes I actually took out of high school was an EMT, because I just I volunteered for a while, and when I was in high school, and I loved it, and I've been doing it ever since. I feel like being a paramedic is the best way for me to help people and brings me the most satisfaction. But it's still extremely stressful. I've had knives pulled on me. I've had people try to beat me up. I've been shot at. You think you'd have an idea what it would be like to have a bullet go past you, but until it really happens, it's horrifying. And I still remember that like it was yesterday, and it's probably that's one of the most scary moments I've had. But the crazy thing is I can't see myself doing anything else, because I love my job, man. Like every day I come into work, I look at it as a new day, and I take everything head on. But there are a lot of struggles, and sometimes it gets too much. I've noticed too, like since I've been in EMS, it's made my anxiety a little worse. And I don't want to say I've had PTSD because of it, but like people talk about, like when you have like the night terrors and stuff, like sometimes I have those, especially with all the COVID-19 stuff. I remember just being terrified because I was so worried about catching it, because a few months ago when the COVID pandemic was at its peak, every shift I was on, I was taking at least 3 people on a ventilator to different hospitals because of COVID. It was bad. We'd have to wear the whole 9 yards. The face shield, the N95 respirator, the PPE garment, and the booties, and the gloves, and all kinds of stuff. In the hospitals, they had floors dedicated to nothing but just COVID. It was so bad, there would be beds in the hallway because there were so many patients with COVID. So you see stuff like that, and you're like, man, am I in like The Division? like real life The Division. But to actually see it in person is a whole nother story. And I was so horrified because like I was afraid of catching it. For a while, I was staying at a hotel because I didn't want to give my family that. And that was really hard because the kids don't really understand, and you have to try to explain it to them. And that was one of probably the most stressful parts recently, is with the COVID stuff. But again, I go back to it. That's what I signed up for, and I'm okay with that, because if I'm not there to take care of somebody, then who's gonna do it? That's just how I am. I want to help people. That's the whole point why I got in the EMS, why I became an EMT and then became a paramedic. And even with all the COVID stuff going on, and now with all the protests and stuff going on, I wouldn't change it. I love my job. And when somebody comes up to me like on shift and tells me thank you, that just makes my day. It's dumb and cheesy, but when a random stranger comes up to me and tells me thank you, or comes up to me and buys me food, like that makes my day. It really does. I love it. Like people are so sweet. The other thing that EMS has done for me too is it's really opened my eyes to like being all kinds of people. I deal with all different types of people: rich, poor, black, white, Latino, everybody, all kinds of people. And I've come to learn nobody is the same. A lot of people like to classify people and say, oh, all these people are like this, or all these people are like that, but it's really not like that. Everybody's different, and you kind of find out there's good people and there's bad people everywhere, no matter where. In the most affluent neighborhoods to the most poor areas, like there's great people and there's really bad people. I will say that. Oh, it's definitely an eye opener. I'm very happy with my life and with my mental health being better, and things are going good. And even with some of the stressors from working in EMS, I started playing VRChat a few years ago, and like I said, I went to therapy and everything, and I started being more open about things, and that's really helped me out a lot with my mental health. For me, it was hard to ask for help. It was hard for me to say, hey, I need some help. Once I did, it was like 1,000 pounds was lifted off my shoulders. And I think that's why, for me, I love VRChat so much, because I could have like a really bad day at work, but I could still come on VRChat and hang out with my friends and talk with my friends, and they are just some of the greatest people I've met in my life. And they're very understanding and very, they're very good at letting me vent if I need to, and very supportive. It helps me with my anxiety and my depression and stuff, which I've had issues with that for my entire life, and a lot of that stuff is just stemmed from not really having the greatest childhood. I would say I'm a really happy person, and as the years go on, I mature and I get better at things, and I put that into my, I use that in life, and I would say the biggest thing I've improved at is handling stress and being more open and being able to accept help when I need it.
Hey guys, I hope his story helped open your eyes a little bit on what paramedics have to go through. So next time you meet a paramedic, make sure to thank them. If you want to support my channel, make sure to subscribe, like, and leave a comment. And you should definitely join our Discord server and follow me on Twitter.